now. I've done it a bunch of different ways, and this has been the most lucrative, least anxiety producing, most successful my business has ever been. And I've worked the least that I ever have. I'm just getting paid for it now. So I wanted to pass that on to you guys and girls. What's up, everyone? How's it going? Hope you're having a good week there. It is a good Tuesday for me. I'm feeling pretty good today. Busy. I got up first thing this morning. I had a consulting call with a nice guy named Armando out in California. He got up at 6 in the morning to hop on a call with me to chat for an hour or so about his business and what he's doing and where he wants to be. So that was the start to my day. Not on the job today. I'm at home catching up on emails, paperwork. Myself, Nick, and Doug are actually traveling. Let's see, today's Tuesday. Tomorrow night after work, I'm heading up to Boston. Staying over Wednesday night in Boston. Thursday morning, we have to get up very early. I think Nick has to pick me up around 5:30 or so to head to the Cape, to Cape Cod panel, where we're meeting up with Andersen, the team over at Andersen, who will be joining us to shoot a little bit of content there for them. So I'm excited about that. I want to give a shout out to Andersen. I know that they are partnering with Kuiken Brothers to sponsor this podcast. So I'll be seeing the team up there. I guess it's Thursday morning to shoot that stuff. So keep an eye out for that content. That's going to be pretty neat. I think we're doing a 3-part series for that. It'll be with the main Modern Craftsman channel. So keep an eye out, but I just wanted to give an additional thank you to the team over there for always supporting me. Also, a shout out to Kuiken Brothers. They've always been good to me. Ryan's always been great to me. I love their company. I love what they do for me. I love their molding, their millwork. They are a huge supplier and distributor of Andersen Windows and Doors. So if you need that stuff, check them out. They have residential and millwork showrooms in Fair Lawn, New Jersey, Emerson, New Jersey, Midland Park, New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey, Roseland, New Jersey, and I'm pretty sure that it is Newark. That's how my wife's from up that way, and that's how she pronounces it. Newark is down in Delaware. Roseland, New Jersey. I think it's Succasauna, New Jersey. Wantage, New Jersey. Warwick, New York. So check out those locations if you need residential millwork showrooms. I saw Ryan, whoever's running their Instagram account now, just posted a few days ago a shallow federal style cornice that I installed on a project. Let's see, it might have been 2 or 3 years ago at this point. Maybe this is the sample that I made him that he's posting in the video. But it was on October 14th. And I used this in a bathroom that I did for some really great customers, about 45 minutes or so for me. But they wanted a custom detail on this bathroom, and I was like, man, the ceilings aren't super high. It was we made the space big, and I didn't want it to be like I didn't want to lower the ceiling visually and have this like massive impact in there. And I was speaking to Ryan about it. And I was like, what could we do in there to really like make this custom? The customer wanted something like super custom in there. He's like, I want like something TRG custom in here other than what we are already doing in the bathroom. And Ryan was like, yo, do this shallow style cornice. I think Fine Home Building, I know Fine Home Building did an article on it. But I got that done, and I remember spraying that and absolutely loving it. As soon as it was sprayed, before wall paint, ceiling paint, all that stuff, I was just in love with that. I would actually love to do that again. It was so fun to do. It looked absolutely phenomenal. I went back to the job, especially in a bathroom with humidity and all that stuff and moisture. A lot of molding and buildups with all those layers. There's just a lot of wood to move. um, but it held up really well. Very pumped with it. Looked fantastic. So check that out. Check them out. As always, thank you to Kuiken Brothers for sponsoring this podcast. Personal thank you to Ryan. Everyone's been great. So check out them. Make sure that you endorse them. They do a lot of good for me and help me out. So if the least that we can do is endorse their business. So support them and give them a follow on Instagram. Check out their stuff, order some molding guides, and thanks again to them. So, what else is going on here? Let me close this window out. Oh, Phillies lost last night. Tonight is game 7. So by the time you're hearing this, we will know if the Phillies are in the World Series or not in the World Series. Um, I was really stressed with this series, and I'm still pretty stressed about this series. But I went out yesterday after work during the beginning of the game when Aaron Nola was struggling, and I rode my dirt bike through the woods for 22 miles, just getting out of my own head, and got out of the woods to see them losing pretty early on. Went and grabbed some stuff to bring home for dinner, and I was less stressed out with what was going on. There was, I guess, a lot of my anxiety was manifesting itself through this series and through what the Phillies were going to do, and honestly, just stressing the crap out of me. So tonight, obviously, I want the Phillies to win. I've been invested in them for a very long time now, throughout my whole life. Um, and I want them to win. It's a really good team. Everyone's very likable on the team except for Craig Kimbrell. But if it doesn't happen, I'm okay with it. It was a really good year, another fun year. I'd like to see them win a World Series. I'd like to see them make it to the World Series. They'd be facing the Rangers, but we'll see what happens tonight if they show up. They've been playing pretty flat, and their bullpen has not been doing well. They've just not been able to throw strikes, walking people, getting them into trouble. So all the starting pitching staff has done their job. I think that Rob Thompson can do a little better job managing the pitching, pulling starting pitchers too early, putting relievers in that shouldn't be in the spots that they're in. But neither here nor there at this point. It's a one-game series. Whoever wins this game tonight goes to the World Series. So we will see what happens. Um, where are we? Give me one sec here. Excuse me. So yeah, tomorrow I'm heading up to Boston. Hopefully, hopefully Phil's get a win here tonight. We're shooting stuff Thursday. Supposed to come home Friday because I assumed we'd be there all day. Nick and I have some stuff to do for Modern Craftsman while I'm up there. Get a new bank account up and running, all fun stuff. And I was planning on leaving Thursday night, Friday morning, and flying home early. I'm gonna see if maybe I can get a flight out Thursday night. Initially, I didn't book anything because I thought we'd be there all day with a full day, and I didn't want to put any pressure to get me back to Boston and on a flight. But I'm gonna see if maybe I can scoot home Thursday night and get a full day Friday. Um, so Friday, the past couple of months, we've been down closer to LBI, the Enduro club that I am a member of, South Jersey Enduro Riders. They are hosting the last hare scramble of the year at Sahara Sands. It's a Sylvie sand quarry down in Eaglewood, New Jersey. So it's if you're heading down 72 towards LBI, and right before you hit Route 9, you end up hopping on Route 9, and the quarries down there. We'll put together like a 10-mile loop. So we've been prepping for that. So that's our club event this weekend. But I got put in charge of the kids race somewhat last minute. Hadn't done the trail layout for all that. The kids race also has to tie into the main. And the return of the kids races have to tie into the main. So a lot of people are depending on me to get the race started. And then there's kids portions that the main won't go on. And then when they loop back, I'm the last piece of the main as well as the kids race that ties into the start finish. So it was a learning curve for me, but it was also put on me pretty last minute because some people just couldn't get it done. It was a lot of older guys in the club who always did it. It was just too much work for them. They had hand brush hogs and were walking miles through these fields, probably with chiggers and ground hornets and everything else. So we ribboned it off, we laid it out, and we were supposed to get a skid steer down there to cut this. And the skid steer popped a hydraulic line, and the guy who runs it, Chris, it's his dad's equipment for his landscaping company. So he's like, I don't know if I can get it down, fixed, and back down here before the race. So I ended up dumping my trailer, bringing my tractor down, and borrowing a brush hog from my buddy Kevin. And I got down there this past weekend and ended up cutting the kids' course in, mowing all of that, and then I really wanted to get the younger kids into the woods some because it was mostly riding in a field that I cut. Um, but I wanted to get them into the woods some. It's such a nice time of year and it's so pretty in there and all the trees are changing and it's just a different experience than riding in a field. So I ended up staying a little bit late and taking an extra trip down there and then cutting like an additional half mile or so for the kids course into the woods. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited for the kids to have a good time. I'm like happy. I think next year it will be much better because I'm just going to own it from the get-go. Organize it from the get-go, and I think that we can put together a really, really great course with minimal effort or less effort than it was this year. So I'm really excited about that. But I'm excited for the kids race. I think I'm gonna. That's where this conversation was going. I'm gonna hopefully get home Thursday night. I was gonna come home Friday morning, and then I'm gonna pull Selby out of school, and I'm gonna take her there Friday afternoon. Um, so I want to get up there. We have like a bit more ribboning to do to set up. Usually wait for arrowing in case it rains the week of. They're paper arrows. Um, so I want to get up there Friday with her. I was hoping by like lunchtime at the latest and get her to ride the kids course a bunch, bring the dirt bikes up, camp out Friday night. Supposed to be really nice weather. And then all day Saturday are the kids races. So I'm going to have her help me work that. So I'm really looking forward to this weekend. It's supposed to be really nice weather, actually somewhat warm. I'd like it a little bit cooler. But we're just having a little warm spell here. I think it's going to be almost 80 on Saturday, but I'd take that over rain or freezing temperatures. So if you're in the area and you want to come out, check it out. You can look up the ECEA Hair Scramble schedule and see all the details for South Jersey Enduro riders, Pine Barrens Enduro riders, and it'll give you all the information. But kids races start, I believe, around 11 a.m. on Saturday, and then the main event and the youth and the C, the morning race are all on Sunday. So it's a big weekend. I'm excited. It's going to be nice. I'm excited to camp with Selby. It'll be fun. We have some friends coming down. All the club will be there, so it's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to that. So that's what's on my list. That's everything that's leading up to this. Obviously, I have the job that's going on now. Um, Coming into the finish line on that, started tile, and then we have paint left, appliances, subs getting in there. But really honing in on the last little bit of work there. Um, what I wanted to do with this podcast, there won't be a blog post accompanying this, but what I wanted to do with this was the past 3-4 weeks have really been very business oriented, how I'm operating my business, what that looks like. I had questions come in that were specific to my podcast, a bunch of consulting calls, which has been great. I love getting on the phone with you guys and girls. So if you're interested in that, shoot me an email, tyler@trghomeconcepts.com. We can set something up to hop on a one-on-one consulting call with you. I've had a handful of them the past month, but I want to make sure everyone has the feedback that I've received is that everyone has loved this. It's been very helpful, very useful, but I want to ensure that if there is a lack of feedback, or if there's people who want something different that just aren't advocating for themselves or speaking up, I'd like to use this as an opportunity to get the word out there and ask you guys and girls to shoot me an email with where you want this to go, what you want more of, what you want less of, what's helpful to you, what you like about it. Constructive criticism is great too. Don't be an asshole. Um, I would love to hear back from you guys and girls as far as, just to help me mold and adapt to the best podcast that I can put out with my limited amount of time. I felt really good about the past 3-4 weeks. I thought it was really, really good, useful information that's somewhat unique to the way that I operate, that I also feel it's not a standard within the industry, excuse me. So I feel that it was very useful, and I wanted to plant the seed in other people's heads to ensure that they're capturing all of their costs and getting paid for their time. And I just wanted to give you some perspective on how I did that and how I choose to do that, and that's how my business is now. I've done it a bunch of different ways, and this has been the most lucrative, least anxiety producing, most successful my business has ever been. And I've worked the least that I ever have. I'm just getting paid for it now. So I wanted to pass that on to you guys and girls. So if you haven't listened to them, listen to the past 3 or 4 weeks. Hop on the website moderncraftsman.co and check out those blog posts. I think they're going to be helpful for you. But what I really want to make sure that I'm hitting the mark for everyone who's listening, and I'm getting out to you what you want to hear about. And a lot of times it's just a quick snippet in the podcast that I'm mentioning this, but I wanted to really devote time this week to ensuring that the time that I'm spending in front of this computer is as valuable as possible, because there's a million things going on in my life right now: family, kids, work, sports, athletics, dirt bike club, our existing house, our new proposed house. There's just a lot going on, and I find this time, um, it's tough to get in here all the time. Like, I'm devoting a day of my week, of my work week. I'm pulling my tool belt off and I'm doing all things podcast related and consulting calls. So I really just want to maximize the value here, right? I want this to serve everyone who's listening. And whether that's, you want to hear about my past, you want to hear about my family time, you want to hear about how I'm balancing work and life and riding dirt bikes, you want to hear more about dirt bikes, you want to hear about um my family, you want to hear about, what my customers are like, specific things on jobs, if we ran into issues, how I address them, how I do address them, anything that you guys and girls want to hear about. I want to hear it from you. So shoot me an email, tyler@trghomeconcepts.com, with some ideas as to what you want to hear about. And then also, just generally speaking, if you like the format, if somebody reached out to me recently saying that they really enjoyed me just jumping into this, and there's not an intro, um, that they can just hop into it. There's no lead up into the conversation, warming guests up. It's just me hopping in front of the camera and rolling with it. So that's good feedback for me. That I don't have to BS. I can just get on here, roll with it, give you an update as to what my day looks like, what my week looks like, and then get into the podcast. So that's good information for me. But if you feel that I'm doing something wrong, or there's something that I could do better, or I could devote more time to certain subjects, just reach out and let me know. That was the whole point of this podcast this week. I do have a million things specifically to speak about, but that was mostly what I want. Just some more ideas, and then just to help me ensure, I just want a little bit of feedback. I want to gauge and I want to inventory the crowd and the listenership as to how I'm hitting the mark or how I am missing the mark. So definitely reach out to me. Let me know. That's going to help me out a lot. But really, that's all that I wanted to get into for this week. Again, I'm wrapping this job up. It's been a bit of a struggle at the finish stage of things, to be completely honest. I'm just chasing issues, usually on a job that I start from the get go and peel back and start over. I can get it to a point where I'm not chasing the issues on finish, or if there's issues, they're pretty easy to hide and camouflage at the end of the job. And with this job, I'm tying into so many areas that are still existing. And with budget and how far we went, there's certain areas that we still didn't demo, like in the kitchen, the one side of the soffit. So like half the kitchen, we didn't demo the ceiling and the walls, and we didn't like have budget to reframe and really address. So I addressed the wall framing in like critical areas where the range is, right, and the ceiling where the tile is going to meet up with the ceiling. Um, I made sure that all of that was super flat, but I'm chasing a lot of those issues on other walls and on other ceilings that are really far out of level. So making sure that my reveals on my crown, and I'm rolling crown and I'm spackling ceilings, which is it's just proving to be a little bit difficult. At this point of the job, normally it's like I already know what I'm dealing with. And I'm still finding new stuff, right? Like I knew that we weren't reframing that ceiling on the other side of the soffit, but I didn't know how bad it was until I went to go throw some crown molding up there, and it's like a half inch off and 18 inches. Right, and I don't just want to scribe that crown molding down. So I'm chasing a lot of stuff. I'm chasing design issues. It's like to be completely transparent, this is the first time in a really long time that I have not supplied cabinets for the project. And part of the designer's model on this one is that they sell and they supply and they design the cabinets. So I relinquished control. They brought me onto this job. That's the way that they operate. Okay, let's do it. And I've ran into a lot of issues with me being picky and just um issues with layout, issues with parts being delivered, issues with finish that to me are avoidable. And at this point now, they're requiring a lot of fine tuning and a lot of rework and a lot of, hey, we'll ship you new doors out. So it's pulling the doors off and then putting new doors on, which for me, if that's my project and I made money on the cabinets and I sold the cabinets, I should own all of that, right? I am the one who owns that. I'm required to fix it. But in this situation where I am billing customers directly, I'm not invoicing the designer, and they already paid the designer for cabinets. Now I'm having to rework stuff because the cabinets aren't up to snuff, or the layout's not up to snuff, or the things don't fit. And in my opinion, the customer should not be footing that bill. So who's footing that bill? Am I eating that cost? Or is, in my opinion, like whoever supplied the cabinet should either have somebody out on site fixing it, or they should be paying me to fix it. And it's not that nobody's paying me. I don't feel right not saying something. And I haven't said something to this point. But I'm just getting to the point on the job where I'm really, really frustrated with it. Um, and there's certain standards that I want to uphold on a project when I control all of the details. And I relinquished control, and I put a lot of trust in design and people's experience, and it's coming back to bite me with, how are we going? And I knew this before the cabinets were even delivered when I looked at shop drawings and everything else, but like um what are we going to do where all the end panels aren't extended on the ends of the cabinet runs? Oh, we'll put scribe molding on the end of the cabinets. Like that's just not the work that I want to be doing. I really I don't want my name on that type of work. And that's not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but when I'm doing the work that I'm doing and you're ordering custom cabinets, it would cost less money to get the cabinets made with an extended end panel, or to get the refrigerator panel made large so you don't have scribe moldings on the back and you can still have something for the countertop to die into. It would cost less money to order these things oversized and have me scribe them, and they would look better than for me to have to fit them be too small, and then have to run around and put trim around everything. It looks worse. They're custom, so they should be custom, and it takes me more time. So I don't see the value in this for customers. Um and it's just what I want to be doing selfishly. If this were a very budget conscious project, sure. Um we should like if I would have known going in that that's the case, maybe I would have been like, "Hey, I don't want to install this kitchen package." It's just it's not what I want to be doing. And I feel that I've afforded myself that luxury at this point. Like when I the big thing for me, right, is when somebody comes into this job when I'm done and they see, right, people are going to look at the countertops and they're going to look at the tile and the appliances and the cabinets, And when they see moldings all over the cabinets, they're not going to say to themselves, well, maybe, maybe the designer goofed this up and that's where the shortcomings are. They're going to say, why did the contractor cover all of this stuff with moldings? Why didn't he just make sure that the cabinets were ordered bigger? Maybe nobody says that, but like, that's what I want my jobs to be. I don't want people to walk into my projects and say, well, why did they do this? Why did they do that? They could have just done this and it would have been easier. It wouldn't have cost any money. It looks like inexperience. And whether that's personality type, whether that's just where I want my business, I don't want to be coming off sounding like a pompous, arrogant asshole. I really don't. I'm just frustrated because I feel that people deserve better. That with planning and coordination and working together, that people deserve better when they're getting custom homes, when they're getting custom kitchens, when they're getting custom projects. You can account for all of these deficiencies in an existing home, in a remodel with experience, coordination, and communication. And that's not the case. And the solution or the resolution for me isn't just to cover everything. It's not just to leave parts out that don't fit or don't match, or hey, that's not my style. And that's what's really most frustrating to me about this. So this project that I feel as though I made like headway and I'm moving forward, and now I'm on to the finishes, and I'm like, geez, I can't catch a break here. This is really frustrating. I want to be super proud of what I'm putting in here. I want to step back and be like, yo, we came so far on this project and it looks fantastic. And I'm at the point now where it's coming together and I'm just like, man, this could be so much better with just little tweaks or little changes. And that's really frustrating to me because I've poured 4 months, 4.5 months, 5 months of my time into this, and I've owned everything. I've owned pros, I've owned cons, I've owned mistakes, I've owned successes, I've owned everything on this project. And then to relinquish control and put what I feel are the finishing touches and really the success and like the differentiation, the small tweaks and details into somebody else's hands, to not be able to execute them, um, is really, really frustrating to me. So it's a huge lesson learned. Um, I need to do a better job of vetting leads when they come from designers, design professionals. Maybe I need to put my foot down when people want to be handling certain aspects of the project that are such a large portion of it, right? Like cabinet or kitchen design or ordering cabinets. That's something that I'm installing. I'm going to own. I'm going to own that installation. So I like I can knock out these trim details on this kitchen, but at the end of the day, it's taking me more time, it's costing more money and material, and the customer's paying for that. And if you look at a fully custom island that has trim around the bottom of it, trim along the end panels, and all of that could have been avoided for less money and looks so much cleaner and so much more custom, with things being oversized and scribed in place and no fillers and no trims. To me, that ends up being on me. Like when somebody walks into that project, that's my fault. That's my issue. That's my mistake. I didn't install correctly. I didn't measure correctly, and I don't want to own that. I'm going to on a project, and that's the problem, that I'm going to live and die by that, and I am owning that, even though I should just completely absolve myself of that and be like, I had nothing to do with this. I'm just the installer, but that's not my style. It could be better, and there's no sense for it not to be better, especially when they're custom cabinets. Everyone makes mistakes, but uh, owning up to those mistakes and fixing them the right way, or halting the project and getting things sorted out and fixed rather than, pulling them from the scope or just hiding them with things. To me, that's what's really important, right? Like my team made a huge mistake on this job, with the floor finish, and it was all approved and everything else. And I don't want to point fingers as to what happened or how it happened, but the fact of the matter is that the floor stain is a different color than what got approved, whether it was a sanding, a stain mixture, whatever it is, it was wrong. And the solution from the get-go was, we're going to keep moving forward. We're going to get the finishes in, and then if it doesn't look right in the space, we will refinish. There's like, the cabinets are already loaded into the house. The floors are covered by the time this was determined that they were the wrong color. So it's just going to be like a normal floor finish. If these people moved into a house and they didn't like the color of the floors, we refinish. We're going to have some more touch up paint and stuff like that, which I'll have to own. But the floor sub was like, yeah, that's what's going to have to happen. If it's wrong, it's wrong. It's not what I want to do, but that's what's going to have to happen. We never offered a solution that was less than making it right. We never offered a half step solution or a half measure solution that would make it better, or maybe we'll change this, that will tie in this color. We never offered any of them. It was, make it 100% right from the get-go, but let's see what happens when all of this space comes together. Let's get everything in here. Let's get the cabinet set. Let's unpack. And at that point, if things don't look good, it's a floor refinish. That's what we're going to have to do. It's going to delay the project. Everyone can be 100% aware of that. But we never offered anything less than 100% commitment and 100%, hey, if it's wrong, it's wrong, but there's nothing we can do about it right now. It will have to be a refinish at the end of the job. Eh, no resistance to that whatsoever. And for me, that's what it's about, right? You make mistakes. Fine, everyone make mistakes, whether they are ignorance, whether they're lack of experience, whether it's just something that slipped through the cracks, you weren't aware of it. Everyone makes mistakes. Um, but how do you handle those mistakes? Do you offer half measure solutions, or do you own it from the get go? Do you pull things out of the scope? Do you not replace them? Do you not absorb those costs? To me, that speaks volumes for you. And the people that I want to work with and the people that I have on my team are willing to remediate issues, and I'm willing to remediate issues. And this is different than the mentality and the Nick has, rip it out, rip it out, rip it out. No, it's just, to me, if it's not right and it's not the way it's supposed to be, we will fix it. But I'm not going to look for a solution that's going to save me some money in the long run or be easier on me. Like, no, the customer paid for this and it was a screw up on my team's behalf. So we will do what we have to do to make it right so that they're happy. And the solution is not with regard to what that costs us financially. Um, I have to have the conversation as to how this is going to impact schedule, and that sucks. But if this is what we want, like, I'll own it. Whatever we have to do, we can do. So that's my frustrations at this point with the job. I was hesitant to get on the podcast and really dig into it. But realistically, I think it's important to talk about it. I think that it's important to get off my chest from a um, mental health perspective. I've spoken to people offline about it. Again, I don't want to be throwing anyone under the bus on any project who works for me, who I'm working with. But when I see issues within the industry that are larger and probably impacting more people than just myself, impacting customers, other designers, other contractors, I want to get on and I want to speak about it. And that's why I have a podcast. That's why I've had podcasts for 5 years. That's why almost a year ago I started recording a second podcast, which is this one here. It's to be transparent about what's going on, to be transparent about my experience, to call bullshit when I see bullshit, to hold myself accountable to what I'm doing, and to hold others accountable within this industry. So that's where I stand today. I've been frustrated, and that's probably the lack of podcasts regarding the project and how I haven't dug into it. But again, this is just life right now. This is work right now, and I want to be doing the best that I can do, and really delivering the product that I can stand behind and that I'm truly proud of for my customers. And that's the most important thing to me. So if you guys can relate to this, if you want to hear more about this, if you want to dig into specifics, that'll be a judgment call on my behalf because we still have to turn this job over to customers. But let me know. I'd like to hear back from you guys and girls. But that's it. I'm going to wrap up. We have a podcast this afternoon with a pretty cool company. It is the man in charge of Musgrave Pencil Company. Today, his wife, I believe, is the great granddaughter of the man who started that company 100 years ago. So I'm pretty excited. They just made some really cool pencils for Modern Craftsman podcast. So that's how we got hooked up with them. But I'm excited. I haven't had my hands on them, but I've seen them. They're really cool. If you guys haven't seen them, I don't know if they're up on the store or not now. I can try and pull this up. But to me, there's really nothing. Let's see. No, they're not up there yet, but they will be. There's nothing that really embodies and signifies craft and artistry and trade work than a yellow number two pencil. Like you think of an artist sitting down, a draft person sitting down, like everything's digitized now. But like when you think of trade and you think of craft and you think of handmade and something that's truly tactile and tangible, the really the icon of the number 2 pencil to me signifies and embodies all of that, and that was the point of making pencils for Modern Craftsmen. And looking into this company that we're going to be interviewing, really they stand for that and what happened within their industry and how things have been really pushed overseas and how they've been able to sustain their business without really going overseas for full production. It's a really cool story that I looked into, and I'm looking forward to interviewing them. So, if you have a chance, listen to that one too. Give us a review on iTunes. Patronize our supporters. Know we have Builder Trend on that one. Um, we have Andersen on that one, Andersen on this one, Kuiken Brothers on this one. I love Kuiken Brothers so much. Please check them out. Check out their moldings. Their classical moldings are so good. Um, so good looks wise, so good quality wise. And poplar, finger jointed poplar is so much more durable and consistent and stable than finger jointed pine. You're going to love it. But thanks. I'll catch up with you guys next week. Have a good week. I'm looking forward to this weekend. Go Phillies. Come on. I don't want to come back on this podcast and be like, yeah, we didn't make it. We'll look for next season. Good vibes, guys. All right. See ya.